Hi everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday. This is Cecile Ahrens of Get Mental podcast and Facebook group. Thank you for being here today. Today kicks off our July campaign, which is a very juicy, exciting subject, which I think is often overlooked when we talk about mental health, which is our financial health. So we are going to dive deep this month and talk about the relationship between our money, our mindset, and our mental health, and give you guys some real tips on how to overcome real challenges and barriers in your life as it relates to this, okay? Let me just take a little sip. So, we got a big topic, like I said, in July, so hopefully you guys will find this informational and useful as always. So I'd like to start off by saying, hi Tessa, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me wave at you. I've never done that before. There you go. So let's start by talking about money, okay? So there's a lot, when we think of the word money, I think a lot of us have different kind of definitions of it, yet we do understand that you need it in life, right? But some of us have ascribed or attributed either a positive or a negative connotation to it, or maybe a more neutral stance. But I don't know about you, I grew up with a lot of very negative money messages. You know, I remember being told like money is the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees, you shouldn't just want money, you know, money is what makes people like commit sins and so forth. And we're gonna diffuse and demystify a lot of that this month. But first of all, money is, you know, it started off, if you guys are interested, before money we had bartering, right? Where we trade services and we trade, our things for other things, or things for services. You know, so cattle, chicken, whatever it was back in the day before money was even invented. And by the way, money is a man-made invention. You know, the spiritual world does not know anything about money. This is, we created this. Okay, so that's point number one, is that money is a creation of the human mind, and it's not good or bad. It is a thing, you know, it is a system of transactions that we've created, and it is necessary for economic functioning. Okay, we need it. We need it in the system that we've created. And it isn't evil because money is not committing any crimes. It's not doing anything. Money has no thoughts or feelings. It's an inanimate object. It's what we do with it. It's our intention and our behaviors that make it helpful or harmful. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to say about that. Now, going back to the history of money. So bartering, you know, I don't know when that started, but that's kind of the first stance of how we kind of traded things for other things. And then the first currency apparently was created in a place called Lydia back in 600 BC, so many eons ago. And Lydia is a place that is now part of Turkey, I believe. So that's how this whole thing started. And then they, you know, created coins, and the coins then evolved or made it into the banks. And then the banks, you know, eventually created a paper bill. And the first paper bill, they said they can trace back as all the way back to China. That was probably, which kind of makes sense, right? Like, they're really good with money, and they're very economically minded. But that was very interesting history, right? Credit cards were, I think, not created until the 1940s, probably 1946, if I can remember. So, you know, this is something that we create as we go, you know. So why is money important, right? The economic impact cannot be underestimated, okay? And this is what we're here today really focusing on, is the health impact. Poverty, when we don't have money, it affects us mentally and physically. Okay? And when we're not well mentally and or physically, that can impact our money. So there's a reciprocal relationship between our money and our mindset and mental health. They are intricately related and connected, whether we like it or not. Okay? So when we are in a state of lack or not having enough, and I know this firsthand, growing up with poverty, really, with not a whole lot. I mean, we started off with money, and then stuff happened, and then we ended up with no money. So I know kind of the both ends of the spectrum. We had maids, drivers. This was in the Philippines, and then family issues worsened, and we lost it all, and we ended up with nothing. No financial plan, no financial literacy, no financial education, which is a big problem, really, not just in developing countries, but even in the United States, and we're going to touch on that too, okay? So money, when you don't have enough of it, what happens to our bodies, right, is it puts us in scarcity mode, okay? So in poverty mode. And what that does is it puts us psychologically in fight or flight, or also what's called survival mode, okay? Follow me? And when we're in survival mode or crisis mode, we are just trying to get through the day or the moment. And it's not your fault per se, right? If you really are having some tough economic circumstance, the struggle is real, and you will feel it in your bones. You will, Hi, Kevin. Thank you. Please feel free to contribute, because I know you're very knowledgeable about this. But the struggle is real when you're in poverty mode, and it affects us psychologically, like I said, and our whole body, on a cellular level, gets stressed and tensed and contracted because it's worrying about our very survival is threatened. Okay? Our very survival is threatened when you don't have enough, right? And that can create a whole host of issues and behaviors. And not to kind of divert, but just to kind of bring home how big of a problem poverty can create, is that this is usually why there's a lot of crimes in poor neighborhoods. When people are desperate and are hanging on, for dear life, and don't know when they're going to eat or when their kids are going to eat, they're going to go through desperate measures to get those basic primal needs met. Okay? This is why we don't want that in our lives. Okay? And in the coming weeks, T and I are going to talk about ways to unstuck yourself out of this financial stress if you're under that. We're going to talk about the psychological aspects of it. Maybe Kevin can be a guest and he can talk about like actual financial investment advice. So that was the history. The purpose of money is to be able to buy things that you need, and then when you have excess or enough kind of disposable income, then ideally that's when you'd want to buy the things that you want. Okay? And I know, some people have money spending patterns. I'm gonna address that as well in another talk. So today I just wanted to introduce this idea that money isn't bad, that money isn't the root of all evil. And as a matter of fact, it's people's behaviors and intentions and money values that are either going to harm or help you. Okay, so we have to look at what our relationship is with money, and what are some of the things we learned about, messages we learned growing up about money. For the longest time, I did not even consciously want to pursue making money, because I was always taught that it was sinful. It was bad. Like, it's not a noble thing to be wanting that, until I, in my own evolution and personal work, I realized that no, like, Spirit, the divine God wants us to be abundant, and it's not the desire for money that's bad. It's my intention for what I want to do with it, right? So, for example, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, what are they doing with their money? Warren Buffett, they have so much and they're helping people. Not that you have to do that, but what I'm saying is we have to get in touch with our money mentality and redefine our relationship with money. So one of the things I did that really helped me shift, okay, because this shifting is a process, is I did an exercise and we were asked like what money meant to us. It was some kind of conference or retreat, I don't quite remember. And money is a tool, right, on a practical level. And then as I dug deep and I really reflected on this, I realized that for me, money is energy. It's a form of energy that I'm giving out, right? If I'm spending money, I'm helping somebody's business. I'm helping some establishment, some person get paid, right? And when they are paying me, they're helping me, right? It's an energetic exchange that I give to them and they give to me. And people pay you too based on your value, whether that's good or bad, right? Like there's a value that you're bringing to the world that somebody wants to pay you for. So to me, that was my personal aha moment of when I shifted and really started to release some of these false, negative, limiting beliefs I had around money. And, I do believe that there is a slippery slope in that, the more you have, sometimes the more you want. That's another conversation, because all of that too is still connected to mindset and mental health, okay? And T, like what I mean by that is like what we spend, how we're spending our money, if we're saving, if we're not saving, why we're not saving, that is all related to our attitudes about money. So T. Smith is going to have a lot of value talking about this too, because this is one of the things he's very passionate about, is elevating people financially, in his community. And I know for me, this is definitely one of my passion projects, because with all the things we do in society, right, we talk about physical health. Now mental health is starting to have some attention, which is great. But we don't ever talk about how money actually impacts mental health. And, we don't teach our kids how to manage money and how to think about money. And, it should start early on in schools, in our households, So because I didn't have that education, I wanted to make sure that for my son, that we started talking about it in an age appropriate way. And I don't want him to be scared of money or to be scared to want it, but I also want him to have values, intact personal values, because that's really what's going to guide the way you see money and the way you handle it. So that's that. The other thing I want to say is that when we have mental health, for those people who have mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, especially schizophrenia, gambling addictions, any form of addiction, that usually impacts your money, okay? Again, it's not your fault, but there is something that, we can do in our profession to help you guys figure out ways to manage your money a lot better. Because a lot of times, people are using money to cope with their symptoms, right? Either you're buying food, you're buying drugs, you're doing retail therapy, you're, maybe living beyond your means to compensate for feelings of inadequacy. Everybody's got issues and everybody's got their own kind of relationship with it, And what we really want is this week, is to just plant the seed that this money thing is critical and we need to redefine our relationship with it. And then over the coming weeks, we're going to talk about tips on how to help you add value to your life and help you guys, get some ideas on how to unstuck yourself, okay? If you are needing help with this, you can contact myself, transcendtherapyca.com, transcendtherapyca.com, or tsmith at tsmithspeaks@gmail.com. tsmithspeaks@gmail.com. That's a tongue twister, T. You gotta change that email address. Or just message us, okay? So I guess that's it for today. Stay tuned for next week where we will talk about, you know, what's keeping you from being prosperous and financially stable in your life. And stay tuned for Thursday because T's going to add more value to what I just said today. And also, if you don't know already, which I would be surprised if you didn't, but if you didn't know, we do have a podcast called Get Mental, and it is available anywhere you listen to your podcast. So a lot of the talks we do here, we do a full podcast on it, and you get kind of a real concentrated, you know, a dose of the information that we're sharing here on Facebook. Hi, Sarah. How are you, girl? Yeah, and also we have a website called the Get Mental Show. Thank you. We have a website called thegetmentalshow.com, and you know, please check it out. Show your support because we are launching some really cool merchandise and gear. And really, you know, this is a service that we give to the public because T and I are absolutely 100%, no question about it, passionate about mental health awareness and mindset and lifting our communities, minority communities, and helping everybody elevate. So, you know, any support that you give us, wearing a shirt, you know, giving us a shout out, anything you do to support us keeps us going in the cause and helps us know like that, you know, we're on the right track. So please, you know, give us your feedback or support us financially, however which way you see fit. Again, thank you for being here. Be well, be gentle, get mental, because we all have issues. Bye for now.